In this section, I will be talking about channel strips, their controllers, parameters, and anything related to them. But before I go on, there are certain things that are worth mentioning, to better understand the way Stylizer work. For each track, there are two modes of playing. The first one is the sequencer mode, where a track will play an instrument from programmed styles. The second is live mode, where the player can play live MIDI instruments with the keyboard. Those modes can be selected from track option panel, that we will come to and explain later. The other thing to mention is that channel 1 is reserved for transferring chords and styles select info via MIDI. So channel 1 cannot be used for sequencer mode, but it can be used for live mode. Meaning, you won't find a style with an instrument on channel 1, yet you can use channel 1 to play solos on live mode. Lastly, channel 10, 11, 15 and 16 are rhythmic pools. They are used for percussive instruments, drum kits, and beats only. And that is for sequencer mode, but you can still load melodic instruments and use these channels to play solos in live mode. The rest of channels are melodic pools. If you look at each channel strip, you will notice that there is a picture of a folder. Clicking that picture will open a browser, allowing you to load your own sound banks. The format that Stylizer reads is sound fonts, SF2. You can load your own sound font bank for any track. So if you have the style that you want to change its drum kit, you can simply do that by loading your own bank into that channel or track. If it is not a standard drum kit bank and does not sound good, you can edit the provided MIDI files for that specific style. This is for advanced users and will be explained in details later. If you are familiar with sound fonts, you probably know that they come in banks and patches. That is why an option to choose banks and patches is provided. In this instance, channel 1 is empty, no sound is loaded. That is why bank and patch show nothing. But if we go to channel 9, you can see that we have a bank with some patches. There is a red LED on top of each channel's peak meter. The function of that LED is to indicate overloaded signals, meaning, if the signal of that channel goes above 0 dB, the LED will turn on, indicating that a peak meter for each channel is provided as well, for mixing purposes. Below that, there is the track option button. It is available for all channels. Clicking that button will open a panel. At the top of the panel, you will see the number of channel to edit options. If we go to channel 2 track options, we will see channel 2 track options, and so on. In this instance, I am going to open channel 9 track options. Track options panel controls the characteristics of the sound, so you can design sounds the way you like. If we look at the first option to the left, we will see the scale tune option that you can turn on or off. This can be used for scale tuning. I can do quarter tune scales, for example. Each note controller will give you -50 cents and +50 cents for each note. Let's turn it off for now. The next option in the middle is the volume envelope option, where you can control attack, decay, sustain, and release for each sound in a channel. The third options section to the right controls other things, such as track, mono, and poly modes. The track mode in this instance is set to live, and as you can see, I can play sound on my keyboard if I set it to sequence mode and play a part of the style. Channel 9 will play the program MIDI sequence. If there is no sequence for that specific style on channel 9, it won't play nothing. I can set the track mode to off, and as you can see, it won't play nothing as well. I am going to set it to live for the moment. The mono mode option allows you to play notes in monophonic mode. While in mono mode, you can set note priority. It can be set to last, highest, or lowest note. You can also set it to off. The polyphony mode can be set to hard steel, soft steel, or overlap. With retrigger sound option, you can also transpose a channel up to 2 octaves up and 2 octaves down. Portamento time is active in mono mode only. I am going to increase portamento time for this instance. The bend range option is where you control how much you want your pitch bender to bend. It can be set to 0, which disables bending, up to 12, which is a whole octave. I am going to set it to 12 for this example. I am setting it to 2, which will give me a whole note of bending. If you noticed, there are no readouts or labels on the interface, and that is because everything is tool-tipped. Once you hover over it, a tooltip will show the name of the controller, or what it does. Right-clicking the volume knob will give me these options: reset. To reset the value and position of knob, learn, unlearn, and edit. A MIDI automation options. Learn will allow me to use my MIDI controller to control the knob. Unlearn will erase the learned controller. Edit will allow me to manually assign a controller for MIDI automation. The next knob is the pan knob. It controls panning of each channel. Right-clicking pan knob will open pan knob MIDI automation options, as well as some pre-programmed panning presets, like center, 50% left, and 50% right. Below the pan knob, you will find a filter and resonance knobs. I am going to reset both. Filter can be used to attenuate or boost high and low frequencies. And since can be automated through MIDI, it can be used as a sweep filter. It has an on/off power button. I will try to play around with the filter of channel 10. Now I am going to use my MIDI controller to control the filter knob. Crank the resonance up a little bit. And let's see.
That's overloaded anyway.
The last two knobs are delay and reverb send effects. They don't control effects parameters, they just allow you to specify the amount of effect you would like to send. They have a power button and can be turned on and off. Controlling effects parameters can be done through the master section.